This is the new YubiKey Bio, the newest security key from Yubico. In part 1 of this series, I'll explain how it's different from previous versions and how you can use it to protect your online accounts and computers. And we're starting right now. Hi, I'm Orman Beckles, aka the High Tech Nomad, and welcome to another video. On this channel, you'll find videos covering the basics as well as tips and tricks on cell phones, computers, smart home devices, social media, apps, hardware, and more. So, if you want to learn how to make technology work for you, start now by pressing the subscribe button and be sure to click the bell icon so you don't miss a video. Security keys are a popular subject on this channel. I think it's because more and more people realize, whether they like it or not, valuable information about them is stored on their computers and in the cloud. And they also realize that they have to take proactive steps to keep that information from getting into the hands of villains that will use it to steal money or cause misery in their lives. Most computers and online accounts have two requirements that you need in order to gain access: a username and a password. With hackers attacking companies almost daily, if not hourly, they're getting lots of usernames and lots of passwords. Many places have you use your email address as your username. And without password shaming you, how many of you are using the same password repeatedly? So, if they steal all the username and passwords from company A, and yours is one of them, then they have everything they need to access your account at company B, company C, and so forth. Keep in mind that they have automated programs to attack another system. So it may only be minutes from the time that they break into company A and acquire your information and use it to access your account at company B. You have to take some steps to protect yourself. The first step you can do is not use the same password over and over and over again. You can start using a second safety check. This process is called two-factor authentication, or 2FA. It helps, but there are some flaws, and I think it gives you a false sense of security. I did a video about two-factor authentication, or 2FA. I'll put a link to that up above and down below in the comments. So that brings us to security keys. If you want a detailed explanation on what a security key is, I did a video on that, and I'll put a link for that up above and down below in the description. I really want to focus on the YubiKey Bio. To access your account, they would have to have your username, your password, and access to this security key. However, let's say that you're an international man or woman of mystery, and a foreign government targets you and sets up an elaborate plot to steal your key. Or you're just silly and you leave the key in your computer when you go to lunch. Now someone has all three pieces. They have your username, your password, and your security key so they can access your account. This is where the YubiKey Bio comes in. The YubiKey Bio has a built-in fingerprint sensor. It knows the difference between our touch and someone else's. So now, even if they get all three pieces, without your finger, they still can't access your account. If you haven't seen a security key before, what happens is that when you plug it in, you will get a little green indicator there, and that's to let you know that it's ready for you to touch. What it's looking for is for a human to be touching this. It doesn't know this finger from that finger, doesn't know Joe from John from Adam. Here is the YubiKey Bio. This is the same size as the previous YubiKey. I'm going to be showing you a little later on ways of carrying this on your person all the time. It is waterproof. This needs to have a human touch it. Somebody needs to touch it. The bio means you have to touch it. Only the person whose fingerprint has been registered and it's inside of here, only that person can then activate this key. We have the A version and the C version. And the reason I went with the A version is I can always find an adapter to go from A to C. And just in my case, I have more computers and more things that have A than C, so I went with the A. It says a few tips before getting started. Have your key ready. It also talks about having a backup key, because you want to make sure that you have keys just in case. The super smart thing to do would be is you have two of these instead of one and one. You'll see it says Windows 10, Windows 11, Mac OS, Linux, Chrome OS. If you're not paying attention, if you're used to loading software, when you look at this, you are probably going to say to yourself, this is software I have to download and load in order to use it. But what it's really telling you is click here and I will help you find where it is on your computer. It doesn't say install, it doesn't say download, it says enroll. There is some software that you can download if you don't have a Windows 10 or 11 machine, but you don't need to do anything except for hit that link. And what it has done is brought you to the account settings in your computer. We have the different ways that we can sign into a machine. We have Windows Hello, which normally is supposed to work with the webcam. We have a fingerprint reader for a standard fingerprint reader. We have Windows Hello PIN, which a lot of people use. I use that myself. The problem is it's a PIN, and if somebody knows what it is, then you can get in, but that's all right. Then we have security key, we have password, and then we have picture password. Well, we're gonna go back to security key. And it says, okay, you're going to be managing this machine with a security key. And I say, yep. And we're going to click on manage. And now it says, put the security key into the computer. Again, I'm just using this as an extension. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. Now yours may say installing some software first. If not, it'll go right ahead and say, touch your security key. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now it says, add fingerprint. So we have fingerprint set up, security key, reset security key, which basically blows everything away and lets you start again if you were giving it to somebody else or what have you. But you'll notice I can't do setup security. I can't add a fingerprint. Why is that? Because they want to make sure you don't lock yourself out of this. I mean, you do something with this and then you can't get in. So it's asking us to add a PIN first, and then we can add the fingerprint. So I'm going to go ahead and come up with a I believe it's minimum of 4, maximum of like 127 or something like that. I'll put the actual number down below. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a security key. Try not to use the same key that you use for everything else. Don't use the same PIN. That just really takes away from the whole point of this. I've gone ahead, I've put in PIN, and now you'll see it says set up fingerprint. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a fingerprint. Of course, now it says, hey, what's your PIN? Our PIN in. And now it says, touch the pad. I'm going to lean over and touch the sensor. And I've successfully added this finger to the security key. Now it's pretty much like you add it when you're adding it to your phone. You just have to touch it 4 or 5 times. I always vary my finger just a little bit just so it can read it from all different angles. We have the option of adding another finger. It can hold up to 5 different fingers, and you really should do 1 on each hand. Now you could also enroll a finger from family members, a coworker or spouse. In case they have to use the key, their finger will already be registered within the key itself. If you have a Mac, Linux computer, or Chromebook and you want to add fingerprints, put it into your USB port, the instructions are very clear. They say go to settings, go to security, then go to security, then go to manage security keys. I'll show you the mistake that most people have been making. Go to settings, click on the bottom there, go to settings, go to security and privacy, go to advanced, and then look for security or look for manage keys. This isn't going to work. As you can see, you have a login under security and privacy. You have a bunch of things in here, but this isn't where you want to be. So do not do that. What you do want to do is make sure you're in the browser, go up to your little menu bar, go down to where it says settings here, and they look very similar, but they're not. And go over to where it says privacy and security. And here you'll see security. Click on that. And if you scroll down through here, you will find manage security keys. We'll see we have the exact same thing we had a minute ago. We have the ability to create a PIN, sign in data, put some little data in there, fingerprints, and then reset the key completely. I'm going to go ahead and add fingerprint. Now it's going to ask me to touch it. Now it's going to ask me for my PIN. And there you go. Now we have the 3 fingers that I've already put in. I'll put another one in right now just so you can see. Same thing as we had before. You just touch it a bunch of times, same as you would do for your phone. Just keep touching it, touching it, touching it. And we'll click on continue. And then you go ahead and list it. You'll see it here. You can see the other 2 fingers. I should probably go back through and rename those because I'm not sure which one is which. I want to get rid of this one here. It's very easy to get rid of it as I can see what the name of it is. Remember, it can hold up to 5 fingerprints. For a lot of people, more and more websites are starting to use this as the primary way of getting in. Since they feel fairly confident about this key and they feel fairly confident about your fingerprint, there's no reason to have a username and a password. You'll have just the key, you'll touch it, and that's how you'll gain access to your account. Remember, it'll work just great as long as they don't have your finger. I mentioned if you stayed till the end that I would show you a couple of ways of carrying your YubiKey Bio with you. It does have a hole in it, obviously, to go on your keychain. The issue I have with that is that if it's on my keychain, I have a massive amount of keys. So that means if I have to put this in a computer, I've got all of this weight from the keys pulling down on it, and it's not the ideal situation. This is a nice little wristband, and your key will just sort of pop in there, and you cover that over. If you need it, you just pop it out. Here's another one. This is actually a 3D printed case, and stick with me, boys and girls, because I just got a 3D printer, and I've got some. Everybody should have a 3D printer, and we're going to talk about that later on because they're down to like $200, and the things that you can do with them are amazing. I did not print this one. This one I actually purchased off of Etsy. I'll put the link for it down below. However, knowing now what I know, I could make one of these in probably 15 minutes. This is a nice credit card version. So you take this, you can put it in your wallet. You don't even have to actually take it out of here. It's light enough that you can then put it in the computer. It dangles. You pull it out and close it up, and you are all set. I currently use this one, and this will work with both the YubiKey, the non-fingerprint version, and the fingerprint version because they both have the same physical dimensions. I could actually pop that in there and be all set. In the next video in this series, I'll show you how to enable YubiKey support on most major websites. In addition, I'll show you my tips for setting up super secure accounts. Be sure to press the subscribe button to be notified when the video is posted. If you found this video helpful, please support this channel by pressing the like button or consider becoming a member. Members get access to additional content and exclusive videos. We really need and appreciate your support. Until the next time, this is the High Tech Nomad signing out.